Hello and good day everyone. For today's lesson, we will talk about the child guidance decision, which focuses on applying knowledge of child development, which includes temperament, social cognition, and self-control. And now, let us start our discussion with our first reporter.
What is temperament? Temperament consists of the individual differences in emotion, motor activation, and attentional reaction to stimuli. Temperament shapes children's outcomes and influences the way they interact with their environment and how adults and children respond to them. So, a child's temperament describes the way in which she approaches and reacts to the world. It is her personal trait or personal style. Temperament influences a child's behavior and the way she interacts with others, while temperament does not clearly define or predict behavior. Understanding a child's temperament can help providers and families better understand how young children react and relate to the world around them. A person's temperament is developed by encountering new surroundings, situations, and people they meet. Every experience is capable of altering the way we think and act, and is a decisive factor in maintaining emotions, reactivity, and self-regulation. There are three types of temperament. First is easy or flexible. Children tend to be happy, regular in sleeping and eating habits, adaptable, calm, and not easily upset. So, children are generally happy and active from birth and adjust easily to new situations and environments.
Active or feisty. Children may be fussy, irregular in feeding and sleeping habits, fearful of new people and situations, easily upset by noise and stimulations, and intense in their reaction. Active or feisty, children with this temperament may be very active, fussy, and have intense positive or negative reaction to a variety of situations. They may also have irregular sleeping and eating habits. Second, second is slow to warm, cautious. Children are generally observant and calm and may need extra time to adjust to a new situations. Slow to warm up children, about 20% of kids are distinguished by their cautious nature and wait and see attitude, given time to warm up at their own pace. They gradually adjust to a new circumstances or routines. When making decisions, they need more time as they pause and check out options. Although it may be easy to imagine that all children fit neatly into one of the three styles of temperament, some children have characteristics of more than one of these temperament types. Therefore, understanding how an individual child expresses or experiences the nine temperament traits will give you a deeper understanding of his of and her unique needs and behavior than a specific style might. Talking with parents and family members will help you further understand the individual temperament of a child. Families often tell us about their children's behavior at home, what they like or dislike, and how they may be with strangers or extended family members.
Social cognition. Social cognition is the way in which people process, remember, and use information in social context to explain, predict their own behavior and of others. It is a perspective in psychology that focuses on how people's observation of others influence their own choices regarding behavior. It also focuses on the role that cognitive processes play in social interactions. Social cognition is also described as a group of skills required to understand what others think and intend, and how these thoughts and intentions shape their the interactions of an individual with others.
Factors of social cognition. There are six important elements of the social cognition perspective or personality. So, these six factors help to describe the social cognitive perspective and give us a useful vocabulary for discussing social cognition in a precise and meaningful way. So, the first one is the self-efficacy. So, self-efficacy believe that a person is capable of making choices and that their choices have an impact on the course of their lives. So, this idea of self efficacy is also referred to as an internal locus of control. So, people with an internal locus of control feel like they are in control of outcomes in their lives. So, conversely, an external locus of control indicates that a person believes their actions have a little effect and that their lives are largely determined by chance or fate. So, the second one is the behavioral capability. So, behavioral capability is the capacity that a person has to understand and execute a behavioral choice. So, people to be effectively perform an action, so they need to comprehend what is they are doing and know how to do it. So, next is the expectations. So, expectation is the anticipated outcomes of the behavior. So, this is the result or the outcomes of the behavior of the certain person. So, whether a person expect outcomes will be positive or negative can be determined whether they choose to behave in a certain way.
Observational learning. Learning that results from watching or otherwise observing a person's behavior and the outcomes of that behavior. Next, reinforcements. Reinforcements, rewards, and punishments that encourage behavioral change. Third is reciprocal determinism. Environmental factors, an individual's behaviors, and the behaviors of others all influence and reinforce and other, leading to ever growing amounts of influence on the individual's behavior from environmental factors in the other people's action and vice versa.
Good day, I am Genevieve Escapin. I am assigned to discuss the topic self-control. Teaching self-control is one of the most important things that parents can do for their kids because these skills are some of the most important for success later in life. So kanang self-control is an important skill to develop because these emotions occurs in any person who feels that their needs or desires are not being met. Also, a person who lacks self-control may respond in a variety of ways including anger, physical violence, or turning to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Then kuan pod kanang people with strong self-control have better life and career in the future. Next, by helping self-control, kids can make appropriate decisions and respond to stressful situations in ways that can yield positive outcomes. So for example, if you say that you're not serving ice cream until after dinner, your child may cry, plead, or even scream in the hopes that kanang imo siyang hatagan sa ihang gusto. But with the help of self-control, your child can understand that a temper tantrums means you'll take away the ice cream for good and that it's wiser to wait patiently. Next, children develop self-control during early childhood through mastering activities in daily life such as sleeping, eating, and toileting. Parents can assist in the process of learning self-control by allowing their child as much independence as he can handle at any given moment. So as kids get older, they develop self-control in three areas. 1. Movement control. Kids aren't constantly moving in appropriate ways, so called kanang hyperactivity. Second, impulse control. Kids put on mental breaks and stop and think before doing or saying something. Then last is emotional control. Kids can keep going even when upsetting or unexpected things happen. Having self-control helps kids in all areas of life, but it's especially important when it comes to socializing. Being in control of their actions and reactions helps kids fit in and make friends. That would be all. Thank you.
There are three types of self-controls, namely impulse control, emotional control, and movement control. First, let's talk about impulse control. So here, it is about being able to stop and think before acting. So, mo siya ang hilanan. Mo stop and mo think before ka mudug actions. Impulse control lets kids think through consequence before they push to the front of the line or run into the street without looking. So a child with self-control can pause, imagine what might happen, just like I could get in trouble or I could get hurt, and make a different choice. So here, if a child don't have much self-controls, often don't think first. So, di sila makauna-huna if ang bata wala self-control. So, they may get into trouble a lot at school or at home. It can also be hard for them to make friends. So, if the children or a kid without impulse control, it may lead to act aggressively towards other kids, overact when they upset niya, kanang they rush things throughout, like sa assignment lang dali-dali on, then follow rules one day but not to the next. So mo follow sila karong adlaw but to the next day dili na sila mo follow, and also interrupt a lot, talk too much, and speak out of turn. So impulse, from the word impulse, mo ang ilaang batasan is aggressive ra if they don't have self-control. And now let us move on to the second one, which is emotional control. So here it is the ability to manage feelings. As kids get older, most can cope up with a minor disappointments or criticism and move on. They don't get distracted or overwhelmed by their feelings. So it means if a kid who have this kind of emotional control, it is easy for them to accept disappointments in life and they don't mind criticism, but instead they move on and they don't overwhelmed by those feelings. But for those kids who are struggling in emotional control, they find it so hard in coping up with their feelings. So just like a kid losing a game or having a low grade, they really overact from those disappointments, like ilaang bad moods kay mulas long bitaw silang kagalingon. So for those kids who are struggling in emotional control, they find it so hard to handle criticism. They get so easily frustrated, and also they overact from those small disappointments or challenges, like they have hard time without to calm their selves and to keep their mood. And now let us move on to the last one, which is movement control. So here it is the ability to manage how our body move and when. This type of self-control helps kids sit still when they need to. It helps them to stay out of other people's personal space. So here in movement control, it helps the young kids to have discipline to themselves. But for those kids who are struggling to have movement control, it may hard for them because they might fall of energy and excitement. Like for those kids, they love to play with other people, they they love to have actions or movement to their body and do exploration. And if the kids don't have this kind of movement control, it would be it will be lead to active or hyperactivity, like kanang restless ilang kagalingon, like for example put kanang they keep standing up or walking around inside the classroom while the teacher is talking, so it could lead to annoying it. So we adults should consider teaching this kind of movement control, because in that way we can help the children to have discipline to themselves, and also they will listen to adults, and I think it would create positive to themselves.